Hey everybody, welcome to Season 3 of Song Revolution. Get ready to ramp up your songwriting. Hey everybody, John Chisum here. Welcome to Season 3 of Song Revolution. It is such a joy to be able to bring you this podcast to help you take the right steps to fulfill your call to write, to sing, and to make Jesus famous. We're so happy to be here with you. This is February, and we're kicking off a whole month of talking about music production. It's just no secret that things have totally changed from when I started in the music business 42 years ago, when it took 30 to 50 people to do what you can now do with the power of a cell phone. It's just incredible. I'm happy that I've been able to live this long and go from the very first Macintosh, whatever the number of that was they make fish bowls out of, to now you just have all the power in the world. And so everything that we do here is to help you create the kind of music that you feel God is wanting you to create. So be sure and jump into the NCS 2025 Songwriting Challenge. The guide, the link to the guide is in the show notes. Check that out, download it, follow along with us this entire year so that this time next year, you are just rocking it hard. So I want to welcome to the show my co-host, my cohort, and a great friend of mine, Bryant. Urich.
Hey, John. How's it going?
Hello.
How are you?
It's going good, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this challenge. I feel like this is going to be an amazing year for everyone. January was really all about getting unstuck. We had Leanna Crawford, God and Goat Yoga.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode. And talking about discovering your zone of genius in your songwriting. And then Galen Crew, who is bigger than the Beebs in China. That's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, wow.
But this month we're kicking it off around music production. Next week we've got Kobe James, who's a producer and artist that we work with, talking about home production. But I wanted you and I to kind of dig into kind of the 30,000-foot view of what it means to go from a voice memo on your phone, if you're not a producer, if you don't really know all the gear and all that, to what's the real process to go from your work demo to the world.
Yeah.
And you as a producer, man, you know how to do this stuff. So
I've done a few. You mentioned work demo. They used to be called work tapes, right?
Because we had tapes,
as an actual cassette tape.
It's still hard to not call it that.
Yeah. I've heard people do that around town, so it's still a thing. Your work tape.
So we talk a lot about God giving us songs, and that's just kind of one of those things that we say. But, we teach a lot about the craft of songwriting, which to me is like where we always start, right? Because no matter what you sing into your phone, if it's not great, you don't want to go spend money to produce it out, right?
Right.
So we always start there. But this month, we're kind of suspending a lot of the craft of songwriting to talk about music production.
Yeah.
So you as a producer, how does the process start? Like, let's say that I feel like God gave me a song, I sang it in my phone, and I bring it to you. Kind of what's the big picture from there?
Yeah. I mean, we get songs in all forms, right? We get people that send in songs that are just a melody, someone just singing into their phone. We get songs that are an acoustic vocal performance, a piano vocal performance. And then we get some of our writers are more advanced in Logic or using like a DAW where they can produce out sounds and actually kind of get a vision going for the song before they send it in, right? So we get them in all forms. I think as a producer, your job really is to hear a song in the simplest form and see the potential in that song, see where it can go, where it needs to go, and what elements of production are actually going to make the song win.
Break that down a little bit. That's a very interesting thing you said, to basically reduce the song to its simplest form. What do you mean exactly by that, and how do you do it?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, they come in all different forms. So sometimes it's almost easier as a producer to hear it in the simplest way, so that there's not additional elements that kind of influence it a
Do you
certain
mean like
direction.
a cappella, or do you mean like
I
a
mean,
guitar vocal, piano vocal?
yeah, the easiest way is probably a guitar or piano vocal. That's just a simple, arrangement of the song, the way that they think, or the way that they wrote it, right? So it kind of came out. They've sculpted it. Maybe they've worked on it for months. Maybe it just came out in a quick hour, but they've captured it in a way that has some sort of form. So it's a verse, chorus, verse, bridge.
And they're strumming their guitar or playing chords
Yeah.
on the keyboard.
Yeah, a simple chord progression with a melody on top. So that kind of gives you open range, right? To be able to hear the song and then think, okay, genre-wise, where does this fit best? Maybe there's already an idea there. If the writer has an idea of, hey, I want to be a country songwriter. I want to be obviously Christian music. Is it CCM? Is it radio worthy? Is it worship, where that kind of has its own sound, has been developed over the past decade? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the first step, is being able to, as a producer, being able to hear it and then also create a vision for it in your mind to where it needs to go. Yeah.
I think that's really important for people tuning into the podcast, because we work with a lot of people that they're not in the Nashville music bubble, that we live in. And so they don't quite understand the progression of what happens, hence the podcast topic today. I've sung this song, I've sent it to you, you've stripped it down. Maybe you've worked with the chord progression a little bit. Maybe you've, as you just said, you've identified a genre and a style. Maybe the tempo changes a little bit. Maybe, whatever.
Maybe the key changes to suit their voice a little better. Maybe someone else actually needs to sing the song.
Right.
Maybe the original writer is not the one to carry the song. So there are a lot of decisions that are made early on. And again, the writer, we kind of interface with the writer on that, because there's a lot of like questions back and forth of what's the vision for this song in your mind, and then how can we take that and expand on it and bring it to life.
So how do you know the difference between what should be basically a demo level, or that's short for demonstration recording, which could be anything from a cappella to a piano vocal? When we say piano vocal, we mean piano and voice, or guitar and voice. You could do ukulele vocal. You could do kazoo vocal.
We were
You were
both
gonna
thinking
say-
kazoo. The instrument of choice is kazoo.
Well, you can't sing.
can't do it at the same
not
time.
at the same time.
Yeah,
It
two
sounds a little
takes.
weird, but you could do different things,
Yeah.
right? But it's standard is a piano or guitar vocal.
Yeah.
But sometimes songs don't even really need to go beyond that. Would you say?
Yeah.
So how do you know the difference in your mind? I know this is kind of a wide open question, but how do you know when a song is like ready to go to a full on, what we'd say a master level that has the whole band? It sounds like a big production, cost $3,000 bass, versus a few $100s for a piano or guitar vocal. How do you know the difference in your mind?
It's so funny, because we're in an age where recording is so accessible, right? Technology has made everything so easy to capture. And so there's always a question of like, there are songs blowing up on streaming services right now that someone recorded the acoustic guitar with their iPhone. There's simple, so there's this spectrum of like what is okay to do at a lower level, and when is it time to, like you said, hit the gas, do a full production, bring in all A-list players, do it in a nice studio.
Forrest Frank, we were talking about Forrest Frank, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's done a lot of production on his own, on his laptop. I don't know his full process, but I know a lot of his songs are pretty basic, and he, in the early days at least, produced a lot of those. We've talked about Josiah Queen, another artist who's just
really
blown up
yeah.
in the last couple of years. My friend here in Nashville, Jared Mark, produced his first record in his little tiny home studio, and they did it, I think on a really tight budget. and it is blown up. I mean, millions of streams, thousands of dollars a month coming in off streaming revenues from a really low budget. I mean, low budget being around maybe 1,000 or 1,200 a song.
That's pretty low.
Pretty low, yeah, pretty low. So yeah, I think there's a spectrum, and you can't know everything. There's a level of like discernment where you kind of think, okay, is the song worth? And we've had this conversation a lot about songs. Is it worth putting this amount of money into this song? Is the song good enough? We can't, we're not like able to tell the future and know what a song is going to do. But I think we give it our best shot to say, I think this direction would serve the song the best,
right.
and portray it the best.
And so maybe after you do a piano vocal, which could be anywhere from $300 to $500.
Yeah.
I mean, 500 is a little steep even for a piano vocal,
sure.
depending on where you're doing it. I mean, if you have to go to a studio and pay an hourly, and then you've got to pay the musician and the engineer or whatever, it could be $300 to $500, right, for a piano or guitar vocal if you can't do it at home.
Yeah.
But in my mind and my experience, it's pretty obvious, what needs to happen with it after that. Like whether it's really worth going on to a $1,500 to $3,000 kind of production.
Sure.
If the song's really standing up, right?
Yeah. Well, and even some of the simplest songs you can think of. When you asked that question, a song came to mind. Adele actually released a few years ago I think it's called "Easy on Me." Go it's a little run there. I can't
sing
really
that
do it,
well.
Yeah.
And it's early in the morning.
But it's so simple. It actually is a grand piano. It sounds incredible. Obviously, it's recorded in an amazing environment. A bass guitar comes in, there's no percussion, so it's literally a piano and a bass guitar, and then a couple little texture elements here and there, but it's very stripped down. It's about, obviously Adele is a powerhouse singer, so it's about the vocal.
Her vocal, yeah.
So the vocal shines, the bass supports the piano, the bass guitar. I feel like you normally wouldn't hear a grand piano with a bass guitar. Like that's just so odd. But when you look at the choice that producer made, less is more. And her vocal is the hero of that song.
So it's almost a piano vocal, really.
It is, yeah. But at the same time, they probably recorded that at Abbey Road, and you know what I mean. like there's
with
a
all
level.
The Beatles, they were there.
Yeah, they were all there in
there,
spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there are different levels, and obviously where you're at as a writer or an artist, the resources that you have available, right, to put into something. And that's where a producer works with someone to say, okay, first of all, this is what I think the song needs. And second of all, like what resource do you have available to put into? There's kind of this balance of, obviously there's a standard or a cost that's involved for working with a producer. But there are varying ranges of production, right? That you can go for. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to approach this thing, but for us in our world, the NCS world, it's really all about having the right song first, right? And that's what
for sure.
All of our material, our coaching programs, everything that we do is really about the song, because the whole music business is like an inverted pyramid, and the song is at the beginning of that pyramid, and the public, the masses, are up here, the broadest part of that, right?
Yep.
I'm not being weird or new age. This is just a great little analogy, right?
Yeah.
Or metaphor or picture of that, because you start with a great song and then you move into production, and then comes marketing and promotion and out to the world.
Yeah.
And most people want to start out at the world.
Right,
And I've had so many people say, well, I just want to write for the masses. And it's like, well, you really can't.
You can't.
You
can't go from 0 to 100.
No, but you got to concentrate on what's working within a song and do your best to capture that and then refine it, from there. A quick story before we take a break. Last year, with one of our NCS collective artists, Bonnie Barbet, I co-wrote a song called "Oh My God," And I'm
OMG.
OMG. And you know what? I'm not a great musician. I consider myself primarily a vocalist. I can play chords. I can play some on the keys. But
You're a good piano player.
well, thank
You
you.
don't give yourself
Thank
credit.
you. But when it comes to like recording and home recording, I've had all the gear and I'm not great at it. And it's a huge time suck for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really want to spend my time doing it. I would rather be crafting a great song and then come to you and let you do what you do great. You're a great songwriter too, but I would rather you take this and make it something great. So last year, I wrote this song, Oh My God, OMG, with Bonnie, and I did my little home recording. And if you heard it, it is so wildly different from what producer Sam Hart did with it. It's crazy. I had this I had kind of a Phil Collins, oh my God, your love surrounding, your love, and it was just
do. Yeah, big bridge, Phil.
perfect. But it was very retro. It had a lot of stuff going on, and I just had a little fun trying to do it. But when I took it to Sam, Sam's like, I don't hear it like that. He said, I hear it like this really up-tempo, and I went from singing kind of in mid-range to falsetto to where, oh my God, your love surrounding me. Go listen to it, guys. I can't do it very well here, but it was a real eye-opener to me in what can happen from a work tape to the world, because he brought his genius, and it's crazy good. But it's crazy good because of him. But he had a great song to start with. Sure.
Yeah, and he was able to see the potential in what it could be beyond even what you thought it could be.
Exactly. It's kind of like the body of Christ. We all have a gift to bring.
Yep.
Well, when we come back, I'm going to go even deeper in what it takes and going a little more granular in the process of writing, recording, and releasing, and what that really means, because we're right up in the middle of all that here at NCS.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back, guys. What would it feel like to have 52 weeks of access to the right people in Nashville? People who've been making music for decades. People who can answer every question that you have about what pro-level music making is all about. Well, you can get that and more by joining NCS Community. Our community is a group of worldwide dedicated Christian songwriters who want what you want, to glorify God with your gifts and to get your music out there. I hope that you'll consider joining NCS Community today. All right, we're back. Bryant, Urich, my cohort, great producer, friend, part of Nashville Christian Songwriters behind the scenes, and really kind of up front in the big scenes here on the podcast.
I'm in the big scenes.
I'm not hiding you or anything, man. You're a great part of this. But we've kicked off the show talking about really the 30,000-foot view of what it means to go from singing a song on your phone to it really going out on DSPs, which stands for Digital Service Providers, and what it means to go from your work tape to the world. So why don't we dig into that just a little bit more? Because I believe, let's go cosmic and spiritual for just a moment. I believe that every person that desires to write songs for God, for Jesus, for what they're feeling on the inside, I believe that's God. I believe that's the Spirit of God motivating them, whether their song ever gets sung out in public or it's just for them, right? It's God moving in our lives. I know that you felt that as a songwriter when you came to town, 8-9 years ago?
9 years.
When we met, and I believe that. And so we're here to empower Christian songwriters and artists, and we're able to do that now. God's totally equipped us with our studio and our offices and everything that we're doing, but I want to find ways to encourage people to get their songs out. And I know there's so many people that are frustrated because they, number one, maybe struggle with writing at the level that people in the general marketplace could welcome, right?
Sure.
That's the first thing. So we address that with all that we do, whether it's our 2025 NCS Songwriting Challenge, download the guide in the show notes, or it's our NCS community,
Mm-hmm.
or it's group coaching, which we're launching this month. Again, we've done it for 10 years, but we're relaunching it this month. Or one-on-one, working with me or with one of our coaches, or our artist development program.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point is to take that spiritual impetus to worship, to evangelize, to share the love of God. That's why we do this, right?
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people listening are probably frustrated because maybe they don't quite know if their songs are good enough. But beyond that, let's pretend that all the songs are fantastic and worthy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the process.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to break it down.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think a great, producer or coach or all these things you're mentioning is really a partner. It's really a visionary partner for a songwriter. And it, coming from my own experience, knowing what it feels like to be on my own, feeling this like deep sense of calling or, thing that I feel like I need to do, but I don't know step one and I don't know step 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And I don't have a partner to help me get there. Right. So a great producer can hear a song and go, I'm going to partner with you in the vision for this song and bring it to life. A great coach can say, I'm going to help you learn how to write songs and take what's in your heart and your mind, get it on paper, put it to music. So that's the essence of what we do. But yeah, we can go granular on the process, work tape to master sort of thing.
Yeah, let's do that because 10 years ago, when God inspired the idea of Nashville Christian Songwriters, I never dreamed we would be 10 years later sitting in a world-class studio, podcast studio and recording studio in the back, and have a record label, the NCS Collective. I would never have dreamed that we would be a full-service music company offering publishing, artist services, the label, programs to help people develop themselves as artists and songwriters. But the demand was put on us to do that, right? Mm-hmm. All I really wanted to do, and I feel like my greatest passion and love is helping someone get out of their heart and mind into a song what God's put in them, whatever that might be, right?
Sure.
So that's where I love to live. But there is such a demand now because I think it's a move of God. I really do. I think it's just a spirit of God moving through these people. But let's break it down. Yeah. I go back to the cosmic. I'm sorry, guys. No. That's what where I live as a pastor teacher. That's kind of where I think. But so the first thing is, let's pretend you've got an amazing song, or at least somewhat good song. And like Bryant was just saying, and I love that a great producer is a great coach when it comes to working with artists.
Sure.
And I've encountered people that have spent tens of thousands of dollars recording very underdeveloped songs.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they didn't have something that might be good about them, but the producers that they worked with didn't know enough about songwriting to help them come out with a better product. So I love that. So we start with a great song, but then when we go to, we've already been, the first half talked about the work tapes. Yep. So let's move into what we would call master recording.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Kind of break that down a little bit. What does that really mean?
Yeah. There was a conversation, this is probably 10 years ago now when I was first on the scene in Nashville, but talking about, kind of the demos are dead idea where we're not really making demos anymore because we have, so the work tape or the original idea, like we're talking about a voice memo, a piano vocal, that's really the capturing the song in its simplest form. Now, doing a demo, because technology has made it so easy and accessible, it's really less about like work tape demo master. It's kind of just a lot of people are just taking that work tape and going straight to a master recording. So the process, I think we were talking about a couple of examples of even artists that have come through NCS where we had a 5-song EP that was all just acoustic and vocal, right? The writer sent in 5 songs. I want to produce these out. Here's my version. And they were good songs, but they all sounded the same because they were played on the same guitar.
One person, same person.
Yeah, one person, similar chord voicings, like all just very similar.
Because that's what they know.
Because that's what they know. Simple. So what we did is we built an idea of references. And I think this is kind of step one for me, is it's not about copying. It's about getting inspired by other things that you hear, right? Because really, there's nothing new under the sun. We're creating from the conglomerate of ideas and inspirations that we've had over the years. So I start usually by like a playlist. I'll start a playlist that's a reference playlist for a song or a project. So for this specific project, we started a playlist. We added songs like they were interested in Phil Wickham, in rock, a little bit of a rock influence, a contemporary Christian kind of thing, Switchfoot, Need to Breathe, that kind of thing. So I'll add anything that inspires me. So it's not just that we're copy and pasting a Switchfoot song. It's like, oh, I like the drums of this song, so I'm going to put that on the playlist. I like the arrangement or the mix on this song, so I'm going to put that in the playlist. So it's this, 10, 15 songs of just inspiration to get us started and get us thinking. So a quick note if you're wanting to get songs produced, a good idea is to listen to a broad amount of music and pull in reference tracks that you like or that speak to you,
right?
Based on the sounds,
good.
So that's kind of step one. I think in that comes back to you as a writer or an artist creating or having a vision for your own song, and then partnering with the producer to expand on that vision. So we start kind of with a reference guide of just, here's some sounds, here's some thoughts that we could kind of go for. And then we decide, okay, how do we want to pursue this? Do we want to get multiple musicians in the room to record at the same time? Do we want to just kind of piece by piece, layer it together as we go? And that's kind of a decision the producer makes based on the budget and what all is involved. But for this particular project, just to give you a breakdown, we took 5 acoustic vocal songs, had a reference playlist of different ideas, and then I hired 4 musicians to come and play guitar. 3, guitar, bass, drums, and they all played at the same time. We multi-tracked, recorded them in a studio, and we got a lot of cool ideas just from having everybody in the same room at the same time recording. It doesn't always happen that way, but it's nice when you get to do that and have a live band recording. And so that's how that one went. Another one that we did, the writer they were familiar with Logic or even GarageBand, if you're familiar with that, a Mac software where you can produce and make sounds and kind of do your own thing. They sent in a song that was pretty well produced. I mean, for the most part, had some cool sounds, definitely had a direction or a sound or a vibe, kind of a pop, funky.
You're talking about Jay Davids, right?
Jay Davids, yeah.
NCS Collective Artist.
Totally. He sent in like a very cool produced, his home recording, or he would call it a demo. And what's funny is we actually used some of his parts in the master. So that's kind of that idea of like, yes, a demo, but we pulled some of his stuff that he created and brought it into the master.
Because he has a home studio, right?
Yep.
And he's pretty good arranger, pretty good producer, and really good player, great vocalist.
Great singer. He had layered harmonies. I think we used some of his layered harmonies in the master. We used a couple of his little sounds that he had made. So that song came in way more fleshed out. It was just really up to me to go, okay, how else can we elevate this to be professional level?
And just a little bit of background on Jay. He went through our Pro Song Mastery program, our 8-week online group coaching, and then he actually did our artist development program, which is a 90-day platform building, launch your career program. And then he came to you.
Yeah.
I mean, part of our family here, but you wound up producing the record. It sounds great.
Yeah.
He's got 2 singles out right now, Free Indeed and I Say Yes. So
I think, This
And
month,
so
I Say Yes drops.
we'll put those in the show notes. You can check those out. But
Yep.
go on. I mean, so
Yep.
he came in a little bit of a higher level
Yeah.
than most people, perhaps, because he's
Yep.
been developing his skills somewhat.
Right. And I would say he's more of a producer writer himself, right?
Mhm.
So again, it's kind of that you said, even relating to the body of Christ, we all have different gifts and we all have different skill sets. So you may be a writer that only sings, doesn't play an instrument, but you write songs and you record the songs singing a cappella and you need somebody to put music to them. Now Jay's on the other side of the spectrum where he can kind of get some sounds and get some vision going for his own songs. Neither one is bad. It's just knowing where your strengths are and getting the right people involved to help you bring them to life. So yeah, that's kind of two examples. I mean, again, the process can go a lot of different ways, but I think it's finding the right partner or the right producer to really bring the song to life. I'm not the guy for every song by any means. If it's like a polka, funky Motown thing,
Rap.
I'm probably not
you could
the
do
guy.
some good rap,
Hip hop,
house music,
I don't know.
trap.
we can try, but I kind of know my lane, right, as a producer. So if it's outside of my lane, then I'm going to be like, yeah, I think this guy might be better. I'm not just going to leave you hanging, but try to connect the dots and find the right person. Gregatron, who produced Anya Lee's more recent stuff. Great, like EDM pop, that's his thing, and it's amazing. He does a great job.
Right.
So, everybody has their strengths and skills. It's kind of connecting the dots and finding the right people. And that's what I love about you. I mean, you're such a great coach at the songwriting level, but you also are a connector in like just knowing, hey, like you connected Anya and Gregatron. So like you knew, hey, she wants to do a pop thing. He's great. Let's connect the dots. So you're a great EP, executive producer, hanging out in the loft, just directing.
Thank God, because I just hate EQing snare drums. It's just like that is water torture to me. So, okay, so let's say that we've got a great master. Let's try to land this plane here in the last few minutes we have, and that you today, because of the democratization of music, anybody could record something even on their phone, jump over to TuneCore or to DistroKid or CD Baby, and within a half hour set up an account and release a song to Spotify. 120,000 songs a day.
It's
insane.
Yeah.
And
what is it, like 70 or like a huge percentage of those songs never even get any streams? I can't remember what the stat was.
This is unverified, but a friend told me recently that there were over 13 million songs on Spotify that don't have one listen.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
crazy.
Why?
Even the person that submitted them hasn't listened.
Well, you'd think at least their mom or nim would listen at least once. Right. But anyway, so that's unverified. But it doesn't surprise me that a vast percentage would not be listened to because what's missing is marketing. That's what's missing. And so here we are at this juncture at NCS, and we have a record label. And we have a record label, the NCS Collective, because there was so much great music that we were producing and helping write and create and shepherd along the way. But we had to go get distribution. And we're distributed through our friends at NRT Music. And
New Release Today.
NewReleaseToday.com. But you can't just throw a song out there on Spotify and expect anybody to listen.
Right.
You have to give people reasons to listen to your music. And so maybe we need to take another podcast this month to talk a little bit about that. Although we do have some great months coming up about how to build your music career. So we'll be touching on that through this year because it's really about, I think of a wheel. And every spoke is important in that wheel, right? To make it turn I used to work on bicycles and we'd talk about truing the wheel, because if you have some spokes that are wonky, you're your tire's going to be out of true, right?
Yeah.
And so every spoke is important, and it's got to be the right tension. It's got to be placed just right. And so often we think because God's touched our heart, inspired us, we sing a song on our phone and we think it immediately needs to go to the world. And it's just not true. Ha ha ha. Da, da, da. So it takes all of it. And so you get the song, maybe you do a demo, maybe you go straight into the master recording. Now you have the master recording, you can put it out on Spotify. But then what? What happens from there? You've got to have the mentality that you are responsible to give people a reason to go and hear that song.
Yep.
Whether that's a few or many.
Yep. Well, and even you get on Instagram or, well, probably not TikTok anymore. It's getting banned, but maybe.
Say that again.
Jury's out. TikTok getting banned in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
At this point in this podcast recording, the jury's still out.
Jury's still out, yeah.
But Instagram, get on for 5 minutes and you'll see some pretty terrible songs being promoted, through videos and like kind of lip syncing things. And the comments are like, it's like moving the song forward. It's getting more views because all the comments are just negative and they're like, this is terrible, stop doing it. Like, so you're right in the sense of like, let's get things first. Let's get a great product. Let's have a great song. Let's record it in a way that portrays it the best. Doesn't mean you have to spend $10,000 on a master, but let's get it done to serve the song the best way. And then the promotion. Then, people get the cart before the horse. They have no idea how to write a song. They throw something together. It sounds terrible. And it's, I'm being very judgy right now. Sorry. It sounds terrible. And the concept's not even there. And then they're trying to promote it like it's something that's worth listening to, right?
And unless you want people to make fun of you and generate, buzz out of a negative thing.
Who wants to build a platform on that? I mean, geez.
I don't know.
Unless you come around and you're like playing the long con and you come out and you're like actually amazing, but you put out terrible stuff just to grow a platform.
I don't know.
That's a whole other topic.
That is. Well, we're just about out of time today, so I think maybe we need to come back and talk about production-ready songs. I think that would be a great topic for us to work with next time around to help people know. I mean, now that we at least know the basics that from your cell phone to a demo or the master, then released and marketed. I mean, that's kind of the big picture, really, and we can get granular with that. But I think, again, it's true to us. I think we need to come back and talk about production-ready songs.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Thanks, Bryant.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. We are just in the second month of our NCS 2025 Songwriting Challenge. You can find the link to the downloadable PDF, 31 pages, walking month by month, adding as many skills as we can so that you're not sitting in a stuck place that by this time next year you are so on fire with your songwriting and that you are so engaged with what God has for you that it just blows your mind. That's what we want. We are here to empower you to fulfill your passionate calling. So thanks for tuning in to Song Revolution. Be sure to check out all the blogs, all the podcasts, all the resources that we have for you over at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. And if you're interested in jumping into our Pro Song Mastery Group coaching program, we're starting it back this month. We've taken a little bit of hiatus from it as we've done some other things, but we're jumping back in with all 17 feet. So jump in with us. Let's make this your count. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on today's show. If you got some value, please help us share the love. Leave a like and a share and a good review. Be sure to check out everything that we have to offer you at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. We'll see you next time.